This is really the Fighter and the Kid.
Come on, baby.
Man, what a treat, Kato.
A man I've known for 30 years, and last time I saw you 20 years ago, we worked together on MADtv 30 years ago. And Kato Kaelin.
Somebody's beating Father Time a little better than you.
Dude.
Kato looks, hey, you know
I don't know
love
what
you.
the
Hey,
fuck
you and
you're
I are
eating.
boys. You know I love you?
Yeah.
When I say
Look at his skin.
you're down 10-8,
Yeah.
he's up 10-9
Look at his
against
skin.
Father Time.
He hangs upside down like a bat. That's how he sleeps.
And when he came in, you know, obviously I've seen you. I have my black belt in this OJ stuff and all cold case, all that murder crime stuff. And when he came in, I thought to my head, let's see, if OJ Simpson stuff happened in 93, 94, well, he must have been 15 when that went down. Yeah. And you're how old?
I am right now.
No, how old were you when in 94?
I was 34 then. 34.
That's
insane. So if I was 16 living at OJ's, that's kind of weird. Right
Yeah.
there.
Well,
Hey OJ, let's go to Chuck E. Cheese.
That's a crime in itself.
Yeah.
The hell are you doing, pool boy?
You know, it's so funny, Boom. I was I was so funny because I had during that whole thing, everybody kept labeling things that I wasn't, and the more I would talk about it, the more it seemed like I was that. So it's like, oh man, I wasn't the pool boy. The kids love me, Justin and Sydney, and the big thing was his kids love me, and it was a trust factor. It's like, oh, they trust this guy. I was working with a guy named Grant Kramer, who was this big heartthrob. We had a casting business. Grant was in a General Hospital, but he did a few beach movies, and he was like the hot thing in the 80s.
He's the hunk.
He's my buddy, yeah. So he and I were buddies, and we started a casting business. So I would be on the sets of these movies till 3, 4 a.m. working. So I was never the babysitter, but I would, if they needed help, I'd always help. And I loved the kids; they were great.
How frustrating was that back then? It's not like it is now. Now you could just jump on Instagram Live and be like, first of all, not the pool boy. Here's what I'm doing, and then everyone would share the story so you could control the narrative. Back then, there's no way to control the narrative.
He had blonde hair, good-looking kid. Yeah. People were like, "Oh yeah, you know."
I surfed the web, never surfed. Everybody thought I was the surfer. I'm from Wisconsin. I'm from Milwaukee.
Yeah,
Wisconsin.
I figured just
I'm the Midwest.
Oh, interesting. I figured you were like this surfer, just living out of the back of the house.
Just the web. Honestly, I was all these things because I had long hair, and then immediately they said, "This guy is so fucking high. He's a druggie," and I never did a drug in my life. It's all the things that you think.
Nor did you drink.
I'm not even a drinker. You know, if I have a beer, so thank God I'm a huge migraine sufferer. So any kind of alcohol, I get these throbby migraines. So it's kind of a curse and a blessing.
Interesting.
Although you became world famous. You're 35,
overnight,
handsome kid, and the amount of female energy you got, I've heard from third parties, was over the top, was crazy. True or false?
I guess true because I was single.
Yeah.
But you know what? I was so cautious with everything when I met someone because I knew how it could turn. They could say
smart.
He did a rape or anything. I was really cautious, and I think a gift that I have because my late father was in sales is to read people, and I would know immediately if someone's kind of after the if they wanted,
especially
if they had agendas.
There was opportunities every hour.
Yeah,
every hour.
But then also you were looked at kind of the first suspect, right? Because like, hold on, this guy's here. Your story was you heard knocking, like 3 knocks, and then you just went back in to get a better flashlight. Is that right?
No. So what happened is they came to my door. The 4 detectives came to my door. It's at 5:35 or so in the morning. They didn't say who they were, and I had like it was a weird night like this, a June gloom. So there's knocking at my door, and I just opened the door. It was the cops, the detectives. I said, "Did OJ's plane crash?" Because that's the only thing I could figure out. He went to Chicago.
Because he headed to Chicago for
and I thought, why? Because I'm not thinking someone's been murdered. So they come in my room and they're like, they position themselves like one there, one there, one there, and they would ask a question. So I'd kind of be bouncing around.
Jesus.
And I still don't know what's going on. They kept going, "What did you wear yesterday? And what are the shoes you wore?" So I was getting on my shoes, and they're looking on the see if there's any kind of dirt on them or anything. So it was like,
right there, they're already investigating.
Oh yeah, I had no.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, that's what those guys do.
I think everybody's a suspect. Whatever. They're just doing their job.
Did they figure out quickly that you weren't?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah.
I'm friends with, I was friends with kind of all of them. Vanetta died after they met me and spent so many hours with me. It was, even today, Tom Lang has done my show. I do this 1 Degree Scandalous show. He's been
Legend.
on our show.
Yeah,
I
Tom Lang's
love
legend.
true crime. I love detective work, and he's
too.
done like 9 serial killers.
But
How well did you know OJ?
That's what I was gonna say.
I'm ignorant to this whole.
Yeah.
He's the guy's down there. I'm a novice to this, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I just remember OJ being arrested and being acquitted, but I never followed the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
Like when the cops came to you and you were like, OJ's plane went down, and then when you found out that it was Nicole and the other gentleman who passed away, was your first
Ron
thought
Coleman.
it's OJ?
No, because
No.
I thought no way. I thought they're just checking it on. They're just coming here because they know that. First of all, I don't know what's going on. I don't even know what's going on. They're just asking me questions. They don't tell you anything. And then the bungalow, I had a bungalow next door was Arnell. That's his daughter. And then they questioned her, and she didn't know. So we both go into a house sitting separate. And then I heard the phone call that Tom Lang is telling the parents, your daughter's been killed. So we don't know. He didn't say murdered. He just said killed.
Did he have children with Nicole? Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sydney and Justin. They're
Hey,
the
man.
ones that
Yeah.
were.
Then
These
he
were
had-
the kids that were
they were
on the
kids.
property.
Yeah, and they're young kids.
Jesus.
I was
They're-
friends with
they're
her
under the
more
age of
than
8.
him, but he helped me out when I used to live at Gretna Green. That was her house before Bundy.
Yes.
She and I were friends because we met in Aspen through my buddy Grant.
You and who?
Grant Kramer, the guy.
But you were
mentioned-
friends with who? Nicole?
Well, I was friends with Grant, but we met in Aspen. So that was my first meeting of her. Of course, I've heard of O.J. Simpson, but they were divorced at the time.
So
Grant
Brian,
and her-
just for context, so OJ had 2 children with Nicole. They were young. They were living in the house at the time. They were actually asleep when all this was going down.
Yeah,
And,
and then
then
two with,
prior to his marriage to Nicole, he got married out of college. He had 3 kids. One passed away. One drowned in a pool.
Oh, my
So
God.
he has 2 older kids that were born in one like 68 and one like 71. So they're
Jason
older.
and Arnell.
Yes.
Are the
and
first
Jason's a
kids.
chef, and that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, that's another case.
Yeah, which is all
Yeah.
bullshit.
What an interesting, crazy time, but what a heartbrick for these children.
Yeah.
Were you around them, or did you?
The kids, I had my relationship with the kids was, I was the guy that made them laugh, and they ended up getting a Akita dog, and the whole thing was they're going, what do we name the dog? And they said, we got to call the dog Kato. So it was kind of an act of love, I think, that
Yeah,
they called
heck yeah, of
dog
course.
Kato.
That's a big honor.
And it's
Yeah.
all, I was just the guy that if I was around, if they needed homework help or anything, I just was in the back guest house on Gretna Green, not Bundy, because there was no guest house. So I helped them out with that. Nicole and I never dated, nothing sexual.
Nothing.
They try to do that in the tabloids.
Yeah.
Total friend, and I'd help her out if she ever needed anything. And it just became friends with the kids.
And so eventually, did you have your? I don't know. I haven't heard you share your opinions. Was there some point where you're like, maybe OJ did do this? I have my theory on what happened.
Oh yeah, no,
but-
I think I've said on shows. Yeah, I think he's 100% guilty.
Yeah.
And during the time when I'm with the kids, you have to realize. So Nicole was the mom that we were running with 4 of her girlfriends every single morning, and the kids would. My Gretna Green they had it locked, but sometimes I got home so late from the cat. I did a wrangling on extras for films, so I got late hours. They'd jump on the bed in the morning. They'd go to school, and that's when the Khloe, Kourtney, and Kim Kardashian just jump on the bed also.
Yeah.
So you could say that I've been in bed with the.
That's how they got.
So it's like.
So they were all little children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all
super young.
I guess 9.
It's so
9 to
sad to
12.
me. It's just so
Yeah,
sad. It's like you want to say to OJ, dude, you have a whole life. You have you're living like the life of Riley, and you're going to destroy so many lives with this.
But Kato, let me ask you this: Why do you think, no doubt, that OJ did it?
Because when I talked to detectives, and they had 250 detectives throughout the whole case working the case, they just said it's a done deal.
There's too much
now.
evidence.
The reasonable doubt. Barry Scheck, I thought, was the brilliant lawyer for the defense. He
best.
planted that with the DNA.
Yes.
But the DNA was 1 in a trillion that it was him.
Yes.
And he still convinced the
know.
jury.
That's incredible.
It's all because of lawyers.
and his DNA was found all over the place.
Nails everywhere, bedroom socks, all 3 people, DNA. We did a show.
In the Bronco,
So-
trails everywhere.
Netflix.
Cut
is
on
on
his-
He
Netflix.
said
Cut
it was
cut on his
he said it
hands.
was 3/4 of a drop of blood that had been spread out everywhere, and they were making a big deal about it because he had cut his hand.
They're saying, at the Netflix show, they have the special that goes on. I saw it. I had no idea all the evidence that was never used. It blew me away that they
insane.
didn't use the socks. They didn't use the stuff, the blood in the dry wash machine. All the stuff was never used because they said they had so much evidence they didn't need it.
Now
Really?
the naysayers will say that that was put in after the fact. Like
Yeah,
a
they're
lot of
saying that
OJ's
the-
evidence.
I don't
I'd
think
say
all those
I don't think
detectives
cops
behave
would
that way.
Ever plant anything. They said Furman was going to plant the glove that was found behind my bungalow. It's impossible because he didn't know to plant a glove because he didn't know anything until I told him about the noise I heard in my room. This picture moved. There's no window. I said, and I'm talking to this girl. And I said, did we just have an earthquake? And the whole time we're deciding, she goes, come on over to my place. I'll come to you. I said, no, you come over here. And we're kind of just
So
someone
wait.
I was like not dating, but
Yeah,
kinda
but
hanging out
So
with.
when you heard the bump,
Yeah.
that was OJ hiding evidence? Or
No.
What people are saying that's OJ. It's a walkway. It's only that big. He had to climb over the neighbor's fence, and they think that he hit his head on the air conditioning unit, and that's where the glove dropped. There's two gloves. One of it, the glove, if it doesn't fit, you must have quit.
So he dropped that glove there.
It fell out, I think. And
Yeah,
there was
it
a
fell.
glove at the crime scene and a glove on his property. So Bundy and Rockingham had two gloves that matched. And
So the theory would be that he was stalking her because he was suspecting her. She was fooling around on him.
No.
Even though they were broken up.
No.
I think what was going on
Not
is that
stalking
she finally at this dance recital said, I don't need OJ anymore in my life. I think it affected him because he thought he could have women and her, and he knew it was finally over.
Because they used to always like break up, get back together.
Yeah, it was
break
they
up,
got
get
divorced and back together,
Yes,
and-
always. So it was on and off, on and off. Then finally, she's like, "No, I'm done, man." Kind of moved on.
And then she was on a
But
date.
isn't it weird because he got charged with first degree murder, that it was planned. But do you think OJ would plan a murder? Because him going to Chicago, that was booked for months. That was people. The narrative is he committed the murders, booked a flight, flew to Chicago, and was like, "I'm in Chicago. I didn't do it." That's not the truth. Truth is that was booked months prior from Hertz. He worked with Hertz, so that was planned the whole time. So do we really think OJ was going to commit the murder then and be like, "All right, I'm going to commit a murder an hour before my flight"? There's the limo there. His bags are packed. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with you. Did he do it? Was it was this pre-planned for him? And
I don't think it feels like
it's
that's
sorta
an act of passion.
I feel like
And especially, but what was he doing with gloves? You know,
well, this is what opinion was. He goes there. He doesn't expect this. Talk about wrong place, wrong time. The
Yes.
show he did. Ron Goldman comes from the Mezzaluna to drop off glasses just by timing.
Because he was a waiter at the restaurant they were eating at during the recital.
had they been
And he wasn't
romantically
invited,
involved?
No.
so he's pissed already because he wasn't invited as a family member to the dance recital. So already he's probably fuming, like, oh, show her. Maybe he's gonna go there with him, have to slash her tires. Everybody's got theories. He goes there, and then possibly that she sees this guy coming over. Maybe that this guy,
He assumes.
Ron Goldman, assumes like, oh, he's having, maybe they're dating. He's gonna have sex with her. I don't know, and
Freaks
He
out.
loses his mind.
he might have seen. There's so many different ways it could have happened.
Now
No one
what's
knows.
interesting though is that there's the stab wounds, like the knife marks. They can't figure out. They think two knives were used. They've never found the knife. So there's been no forensics that can show you, was it a machete? Was it a switchblade? They don't know.
But Brendan,
It's two different cuts.
I saw this on one of the documentaries that his agent Mike Gilbert
Yeah, I saw
had
that.
said OJ said to him, if she hadn't have come to the door with a knife, she'd still be alive.
Yeah.
Is there any truth to that?
Well, it's
We can't verify it.
Yeah, you
OJ's
can't verify
dead.
it. I'll tell you what's really interesting is that on this podcast I do, we had a guy named Skip Junis on, and this is the most amazing thing. Skip Junis' wife handles American Airlines, all celebrities. She'd walk in celebrities. Back in '94, the cameras were around. So if you're a celebrity and you don't want to be people coming up for autographs, she would take you there. He's there to pick up his wife. She's done it for 20 years. He's got a Miata parked behind the limo. And he obviously recognizes that out of the limo, it's O.J. Simpson. Oh, it's O.J. that. And he notices, without thinking, it's no biggie, he had this duffel bag, which I'll get into later, that I said he wouldn't let me touch to pack in his car. But anyways, he sees him go into this duffel bag and go into a garbage can, all the way into a garbage can to here in his arm, just dropping something.
That's strange.
Who throws out something, first of all? He's done our show. He's totally legit. The detectives loved him. Marshall Clark did not use him. So
They made their mistakes.
I'm positive that he saw him put the
And Bryan, this
whatever,
is interesting. So before the murders, Kato went to McDonald's with OJ to get something to eat.
So you knew OJ well.
Hey man,
I did. I lived on his property. I mean, I knew him, I never look at. I was my tax bracket's donuts. He's Danish.
No one knew him well, probably.
Yeah,
right?
he was a kind, charismatic. You know, he had charming, but it wasn't where he said, "Kato, hey, what are we doing this weekend?"
Yeah.
Never. Nothing.
But you went to McDonald's with him.
Well,
he invited himself.
Yeah, I did the thing. I used to run. Like if I had a 10-mile run, that's a low day for me. I did at least 15, and I played basketball that day. I was insane. So he came to my door and just said, "Hey, can you break a $100 bill?" I said, "No, I can't. I have two 20s." And he said, I said, "God, I'm starving. Can I go?" And I swear to God, when I said that, he looked at me like, in his mind, he's going, "See, when can I do a killing?" You know, he's gonna. That's what I'm thinking now in hindsight. And I knew immediately I shouldn't have asked him. And he goes, "Yeah, okay, sure." But it was so uncomfortable. I knew. I was like, he doesn't want me to go.
Yeah.
So if he was a friend, it would be like no problem. But I was like, this is OJ. I'm just this pool boy. No,
he was such a legit star.
I don't know where we're going. I don't know it's McDonald's.
That's hilarious.
I'm just in his Bentley and he's driving around and it ends up being a McDonald's, which I don't even eat. And I could get chicken. So I got my chicken sandwich. He got like 2 quarter pounders and he ate. His hands are like that big. He just ate it. So I waited. I didn't want to eat in the limo. That was the big thing. Did he? Marshall Clark said, "Did he seem excited to be with you?" And I said, "Well, wouldn't you?" So I go after McDonald's. I still have my food. He still got his food, and I walk to the driveway. I go to his door, like we were going to eat in his kitchen, and I turn around. He's still 25 feet away at his door. Like, where are you going? Like, you're not coming in. So in my head, I'm going, "That's so weird. What's he doing?"
Yeah.
So I went, "I'll eat in my room." That was it.
That was it.
That was it.
Now, after the murders, was he living at that house still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And were you living in your place still?
I lived there, and I moved out the next day.
Okay.
Bet your ass you did.
When I was at with the
'cause
cops for 8 hours, I was there in the rooms like you see.
Because the media must have been crazy. I mean, you had to get out of there.
This will be the template for any trial. It was insanity.
Can we take a little break? Can we take a break from chatting about OJ with Kato Kaelin?
Yeah, and we'll get right back. But can I ask you, who is scoring big in the NBA this season?
Dude, LeBron is, but your boy is, because I use DraftKings, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. From Monster Slams, the Dishing the Rock, the Cleaning the Glass, get behind your favorite players and prop bets you can make on DraftKings. Bet on my boy Jokic. He's balling. He did 30-20-20. Ever heard of it? The home of NBA player props. We're talking about DraftKings. Here's something special for first timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Take it to the rack with DraftKings Sportsbook. Every point counts. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use code FIGHTER. That's code FIGHTER for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 buckaroos. Only at DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
This will be the template for any trial. It was insanity. I'm not even putting it in perspective. When I did an event, this is after like the popularity of what the media can do. I'd go to I went to a mall in Terre Haute, Indiana. 12,000 people in this mall showed up for like the autographs. I'm going, oh my God, because 12,000 in a mall. And then I was invited
to get your autograph.
To get an autograph.
Fucking nuts.
It was craziness. And
that was
like a rock star kind of signing stuff, but I knew the way I was really raised. I think the correct way with my parents, like don't you dare sign boobs or anything like that. Yeah.
Signing knives and shit.
Well, you handled
At least don't sign your mom's
But Kato,
boobs.
you handled it well.
I didn't.
You seem all right.
You never lost.
You seem all right.
You never lost yourself. You never lost your.
And never. And
you were always a sweetheart.
I never ever. People would come up and go, "Gene, if you like doctors, if you need a psychologist, let me know." And no, I just call my family or my best friends are still my best friends from high school are still my best friends today.
Yeah.
That says a lot about
I hope
you.
they graduate. No, but seriously, there's just when you have friends, they keep you humble no matter what.
they do.
Yeah, you have
They'll
to.
tell you that.
Is it
They
what a
don't like,
strange? It was the beginning in a way of like. I don't think that would have. I think with today's atomized sort of attention span, but back then,
No, you can do it. The Johnny Depp trial was broadcasted.
no,
millions
that's
and
for
millions
sure.
and
That's for
millions.
sure. That's
You can
true.
say it just has to be that special.
Yeah.
You have, like this was the perfect
That's a good
storm
point.
because you have a celebrity.
It actually might have been just as intense, huh?
100%.
And more
If he did it today, it'd be
Shakespeare is
everywhere.
black and white, a celebrity. It's the whole everything that happened. The
Pretty,
Rodney King just happened.
pretty white girl.
Quite
Rodney-
literally black and white too.
Yeah, and it just look.
But OJ's defense did a brilliant job using the sensation of the Rodney King stuff and bring it to this and make it about race.
Totally.
And so then it becomes polarizing.
They
He's
knew
a superstar.
how to read a jury.
Yes.
He knew, Kato
God,
knew
they're
exactly
brilliant.
how to plant the reasonable doubt. They knew how to make, Dennis Fong was the DNA expert for the prosecution. He did such a bad job that he's shaking hands after his testimony's over with the defense.
Yes.
Like, you guys are really good.
Wow. So when you were talking to these hardened, experienced detectives,
Yeah.
Mark Furman.
Yeah.
Like, he gets a lot of shit. That he was a badass man.
Yeah,
Mark
he
Furman's
was
brilliant.
no joke.
He just,
detective.
planted his life changed forever. I don't
Forever.
know why he didn't say yes. Of course, he's the N word. He's working. With the documentary that Jeffrey Toobin said that he found out he wanted to get his retirement early because he couldn't stand the crime, and they show that he used the N word. So I don't know why he just say yeah. I said
well,
it.
guys like that have to deal with some of the worst of the worst, right?
How do you bring it home, right?
Heartbreak, children crying, all that awful stuff.
Highest
you know?
divorce rate. I mean, it's tough being a cop or detective. It's just
And
tough.
then he becomes the scapegoat. He became the focal point of this entire thing.
So his life got pretty jumbled up.
Yeah, well, he wrote best-selling books, and I think he's okay. But if on this Netflix special, it's just he admits it's like I'm the scapegoat. My life has changed.
And he goes,
people hate-
they go, how do you feel about people call you racist? He goes, I have to accept that. He goes, there's nothing I can do to change that. On my tombstone, it will say Mark Furman, the racist cop. He goes, there's nothing I can do now.
Jeez.
Mine's going to say your 15 minutes are up. Anyways. Big job.
I don't know, dude. That trailer you showed us of your new show.
Yeah, well, let's see if it goes. But yeah, it's.
I mean, I don't. That seems like such a winner, and I'm not just bullshitting you. That trailer, we were both like, "Damn!"
Yeah, I'm a crime
It's
nut.
yeah.
When you were like, I'm going to do a crime show, I'm like, oh God. here we
Wrong
go.
place
And then you
or-
see like,
Wrong place, wrong time.
Wrong place, wrong
and
time.
it's so
Yeah, the
relatable because
crime-
so many, even
yeah.
Sinaz has a wrong place, wrong time story. I think it's the person that's a third wheel in a crime and how important they are to the piece of the puzzle of how they fit into it and how your life can change for having nothing to do with the crime but being related to it because
The best example of that-
Your life changed for the better in many ways, right? In a
Yeah,
sense.
completely. I mean,
You made money off it and all that.
yeah, I mean, I worked. So, Bryan, you understand this because you know these people. I was dear friends with a guy named Aaron Meyerson. Aaron was at New Line, a producer. I was hanging out and I was getting readings. As an actor, getting like, my first audition ever coming from Milwaukee was a Coke commercial. I got my first audition. I got it.
Wow.
So I've had my SAG card forever. So Aaron, who's a dear friend of mine, gives me a script and says, "You gotta be in this movie. It's so you." So he's at New Line as one of the executives, and we go out on weekends. Back then, it was Rebecca's in Venice and doing, single guys just working it.
Yeah.
So I go in and I read, and they like me. They read me again. A guy named Dan Montgomery. This is the week before the murders. I'm reading. My hair is long. I'm reading Dumb and Dumber. I don't know. It becomes this.
Oh,
hit.
wow.
So I'm reading and I'm like, God, everything's kind of. I feel like my life has changed. I have to tell you, it sounds so corny and not believable. That week before, I kept going, God, something's happening. I think my career is going to. I swear to God, it was inside. I'm going. I'm meeting all
Something
these
big's
people.
gonna happen.
They're looking at me differently.
Oh, I've been there. I've been there for 30 years, but keep going. Oh,
You're a star, baby.
I know all about this.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're a superstar.
Yeah, I sure am.
Then the murders. I was like, oh, God, the callback. They put me on tape, and I became
For what?
a
Which
character.
role?
I read for the Jeff Daniels role.
Oh, for Harry,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
not going to get that. Jeff Daniels is fantastic. But they're kind of like making me read other parts.
Yeah.
Everything changed. At the week the murders happened, I was like, and then when I finally got, like, they saw my picture and I was on TV, I was a caricature, which I hated. I was
So
like,
Dumb and
such a
Dumber.
And so then
Dumb
they
and
could-
Dumber
that
is
was
that
just a
older?
reading.
Is
So
that
then-
old? Dumb and Dumber what year was OJ?
That was 1994 was Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber, old
94.
school. Yeah. But then
and then I met
then
the
you got
Fairley Brothers later.
typecasted. Did Hollywood go? We can't book this guy because
it was
everyone
the thing
knows
where
him as
everybody
OJ.
wanted. At the time I had these lawyers that would just go. If you go to lunch at Paramount, everybody they don't care if Tom Cruise is there. They're going to want to talk to you at that time.
Yes.
I was more popular than Jesus.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was.
and it gets you nothing.
But you weren't getting casted. You're just like, oh, that's the OJ
I was
guy.
getting readings, but
Doesn't matter.
after the third or
I
fourth
could've
time
told you
going
that.
to the readings, I knew it was just curiosity.
Yeah,
it
that's
was
right.
just to meet me.
That's right.
And
That's exactly
but it was just whatever it was. I landed a radio show I was happy with, and I was on the Stern. It was Stern before me, and Ken Ober, a late comic who I loved, he was on. Then it was me, and that was like great gig. Then I landed a TV show. We did 147 episodes of a thing called Eye for an Eye. It was a judge with a baseball bat of justice. Dearest friend of mine today, Akeem Anastapulo, and it was a college kid start noticing me. For that, it was like the best feeling. Like, hey, where's OJ? They were just going, Extreme Akeem.
Yeah, they
Kato.
forgot about
so
that.
that was on.
Well, yeah,
the
because that's
block
what
of court
happens.
shows.
It's a big
generation.
shadow.
People are like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
you know.
You know, 30 years ago, whatever it was, we did the MADtv. The first episode I was hosting. You were the kindest man. I mean, I had a few of them. I could feel there was a vibe of certain people that just didn't like me. Did you?
They're the worst. I love all my castmates.
I know someone that still. Things affect me. When I hear something negative, it affects me. I hate it because they don't know me, and it really might get upset with my feelings.
Yeah.
Oh man, don't read the YouTube
listen,
comments. after this.
But there was so can you say that was like?
So I'll say this. There was never anyone, and God bless my castmates on MADtv, and I love every one of them, and
Yeah.
they're all so talented.
Yes,
But
super
they were a prickly bunch. And I was so happy to be there, and they weren't as happy. And they were a lot
To be
more
on the show, you mean, or
experienced.
to be-
Yeah, they were.
Because they wanna be on Saturday Night
They were
Live
just a
or
lot more
Living Color?
experienced. They'd done a lot of stuff. I was such a newbie, and I was a real.
You're grateful.
I was clueless
Yeah.
and grateful, and I was just out of it. But when I would see someone like you come on, I'm like you. I love people.
Yeah.
And I also know that it's new for you. You're coming in to a bunch of comics that are sketch comics,
Seasoned.
talented,
Yeah, super
seasoned,
talented.
and it's intimidating.
Yeah.
So my job would always be to take someone like yourself and make you feel good. I did that with Bryan Austin Green. I did that with a guy named Joe Rogan.
Yep.
Because they were all like,
That's
they
how you
were
became
all
friends.
making fun of
Yeah.
Joe about being on
Meathead.
news radio and a meathead. I was like, what are we doing here, guys?
Making fun of news radio was a big hit.
Well, that's why Joe and I got so close, because it was just, and Joe tells the story. It was just Joe and I. Like I went, this guy is into fighting. We had similar interests, and they probably lumped Joe and I in the same category of kind of meathead guy.
Meatheads, yeah.
But God bless. Again, my cast was great. I love them, but they were just they resonated differently
Right.
than I did. And certainly then, so I'm sure, Kato, that when you came on,
side-eyed.
they were a little snobby in that you weren't a comedian or an actor in their mind.
But-
So they were like, all right, well, we'll just do this thing.
For sure.
Meanwhile,
get
you did a
views.
great job.
I appreciate it.
And you really did, and it was an awesome episode.
But Kato,
and I don't
did-
think
did-
everybody liked you though.
But
Everybody
Kato,
liked you.
did you ever feel like, especially working with Bryan, all those talented improv guys, did you ever feel like you didn't belong? Like, because
No, I
obviously your
loved
start
it was
came
where I
from.
wanted it was everything I was my dream to do that.
I know,
I was
but
in
the
all
dream,
acting
but you got there,
academies.
but
Yeah.
you got there, but you didn't get there the way you were thinking.
Oh, 100%.
But Brendan, the secret is none of us thought we belonged there. Like when
No,
you're on a
I
sketch,
No, I
understand
can-
that. But
one-
if you became a famous comedian from somebody getting murdered,
Brendan,
you'd feel different.
Yeah.
Totally, I've said that before. I got there backwards. All that happened because of the most horrific reasons.
Yes.
2 young people, beautiful people, lost their lives, and there's nothing I could do. It's horrendous.
Yeah.
What happened to me, I have no idea. Just it happened, and it was like, do I not work the rest of my life, or do I still go for my goal?
You go.
So still,
You did it-
I'm older, and I'm
you
still
did it
doing
right,
the same goal in my life. Nothing's changed for me. I'm the same exact person.
Yeah.
And I love people. I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. When there's, if I paid for it every day, because I really know what it feels like for it to be hated.
Yep.
For no reason.
I know,
for
no reason.
Yeah, for no reason.
No, I watch all the OJ stuff. I watch everything. I entertain.
Yeah.
Even the conspiracies. I watch all of it. And I had my preconceived, like, ideas when he came out. I'm like, I bet he's not going to want to talk to OJ. I bet he's going to be prickly. He's probably over it. And you're
Well,
fucking,
so I knew
you're
you'd
great.
Be,
You're
I knew
awesome.
you'd be great. I think you became a victim to the fact that you were a beautiful blonde man.
Male, yeah.
You were a good-looking, but you had the long hair, and you looked like a dumb. You looked
Surfer.
like a dumb beach blonde surfer.
Right.
So in the American narrative, you were Ken. You were
100%.
right. You were like the Barbie doll. So you're not. You were there on MADtv because you were Ken who got caught up in this thing. Nobody was going to take you seriously by the way you looked.
But they didn't
back
realize
then.
he had the chops.
Of course. Well, he's also.
But you're right.
What I know,
They didn't realize
what I
it.
know is that you were such an inherently decent guy, and you were such a nice human being. And then what was really compounded was that you held your own and did a great job. So for us, it was. I think that's what happened.
But the cops didn't do him any favors either, because like we kind of knew right away it wasn't Kato. Answered the door. He's like, huh? Like they're
Yeah.
making you out.
Well,
to
they
be
called
this-
you a pool boy.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
and also
So-
the when Billy Magnuson did the Fox series, it won 8 Emmys for the American Crime Story.
It's
Ryan
fantastic.
Murphy. So I don't know any actor that would not want to meet the person. And by the way, he was on other talk shows and he was speaking great things like, oh my God, I love this guy. He said, I didn't want to meet Kato. I heard nothing but good things. Make up his mind. He goes, everybody had great stories about him. But he chose, I think, to kind of do the Spicoli thing, which is fine. Maybe that was the direction they wanted to do.
Yeah. Let's take a little break, B.
I need
'cause
auto
this-
parts, dude.
Dude, I'm glad you do.
I want auto parts, but I want a friendly, helpful staff. I want to be able to change my battery when I'm in the car or out of the car.
Well, it's a good thing this episode of the Fire and Kids is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. They're in the business of keeping your car on the road. O'Reilly Auto Parts offers friendly, helpful service and parts knowledge you'll need for all your maintenance and repairs. Whatever you need, they got you covered, man. I get my oil. I change all my car's oil from them. That all the oil. They got everything you need. So whether you're a car expert or a rookie, you'll find the employees at O'Reilly Auto Parts are knowledgeable, helpful, best of all, super friendly. Professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts are a one-stop shop for all things auto do-it-yourself. You can find what you need in-store or online. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today. Visit them at O'ReillyAuto.com/fighter. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/fighter.
So I just had Jeffrey Toobin, who wrote it. The run of his life was about OJ. It was on that series that was written by him. And I asked him, did you get a chance to meet him and why he did that? He goes, no, I didn't do the casting and that. But they, I think they kind of make up their mind, an actor, and says, I'm going to do him this way. That's my goal.
That's fine.
Yeah,
And do
I
you-
didn't mind.
Do you entertain any of the conspiracy theories? I do, because it keeps it alive, Like, so I'll entertain some of it. Like with the knives, how it's 2 different knives. They never found that. How they're finding the evidence in the blood. How that solution in it.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
I don't-
The son did it, which I don't buy.
I don't, I met a guy named William Deere. He wanted to have dinner, and he's the guy that had the Jason theory. And he said he was a Canadian Mountie Police, so he wrote a book.
Do you know this?
OJ's guilty,
Let me
but
fill
not
him
of
in.
murders.
Do you know the theory of? So he had an older son named Jason who was a chef, and Jason was supposed to make dinner for Nicole and the whole family that night, and they canceled last second. And he had a prior felony on his record, had anger issues, so they figured with them canceling dinner, he freaked out, went to the house and killed her.
Because he was a chef with knives. They had
Yes,
the whole thing. It was.
It's
his
a
book is
stretch.
called-
It's such a stretch.
I would imagine
And
it's a stretch because he would have left a fingerprint. He would have left something, right? I mean, a fingerprint
Yeah.
meaning blood or something.
And
right?
there's no reason, first of all, for him to do that.
It,
So I thought,
it makes no sense.
why-
My thing about the DNA was-
hold on, B.
But his
it's-
DNA is the same, I think. as
It'd be the
parents.
same, right?
It would be different. It's different.
Well, fingerprints would be different.
So-
but then also, what's interesting about that too is the first thing OJ did, because there is some defense of OJ here. Because the first thing OJ did, so he took the first flight out of Chicago when he found out that Nicole was murdered. Whether he did or not, he took the first flight out, missed the
First
Hertz
available
thing.
flight,
First
yeah.
available flight. Comes back. First thing he does is hire a lawyer for Jason. His first call was to hire a lawyer for his son. Because and now that could be like, well, he does have prior convictions. They're going to point towards him, so I want to make sure my
I didn't know
son's
that.
safe.
I didn't hear that.
His-
I'd
yeah.
never heard that one. That's
well, so
interesting.
what I've
And
what I've
then
heard.
also would not, and I'm not defending OJ. I'm just these are the
Yeah.
other conspiracies. OJ, when the cops called him, he goes, and he had guns. I guess he had a bunch of guns. He goes, "Here's all my guns." He wasn't. They're saying he wasn't aware that she was murdered by a knife, so he gave up all the guns. Like, here's all my guns, and they're like, "We don't need those." He's like, "Why wouldn't you need these?" Because he figured she was shot.
So the what I've heard from a book I read on this guy who was a detective, He
On
said
the OJ case?
No, he said that when people kill someone, a lot of times the first thing they do is they leave town, like right away.
See, that doesn't
Yeah, but
work
that
here.
was- he had
OJ
a
months
flight, though.
prior to because
He had a flight.
It was a Hertz
So he
golf
It
tournament.
was a Hurt golf tournament. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Which was
man.
booked out, like, months prior.
I guess we don't know. My thing about
We
the
kind of
DNA
know when you look at that.
yeah.
When you look at the actual hardcore evidence.
But
it's
if he had been traversed that area a lot because it was his house, wouldn't he have had his DNA there, or no?
well,
It was
but
at
that's
Hertz, but there's
it was
his Ron Goldman's also his DNA. So they had all the
He
Nichols.
did it.
It was all.
He fucking.
But
they had-
also
and
it
they were
was
saying it was planned. It's like it's just no way the cops.
if all those detectives came to that conclusion, those guys they
It-
see things we don't see.
But also the crime scene wasn't handled great either. So they took a
Yeah.
blanket from Nicole's bed, which has their DNA on it. Nicole and OJ used to have sex on it. So to cover the bodies, they used that blanket. So OJ Simpson.
Is that true?
That's
Yeah,
true.
They did.
These are
They
facts.
covered. They
These
made
are
a bunch of
facts.
mistakes.
Bunch of
they never.
mistakes.
The guy never did a high profile crime, and everybody's outside filming it. That's the difference. You see camera crews from all the news stations, and they use that as evidence. Like, where'd that blanket come from? And they show the blanket.
It's
from
stuff
the
they shouldn't
house.
have done, and
It's
that's
all
why.
mistakes
And
they
that's
made.
why the defense was like,
Planned
"Hold on,
reasonable
look
doubt.
at this. Well, this wasn't there the night of the murders, but now it's there. Where'd that come from? Like, well, we took a blanket from his bed to cover the bodies. Like, well, there's DNA all over that.
Yeah.
So now the OJ's, maybe semen, blood, hair strands, skin cells, Nicole's skin cells, all that. That's all in the body now. So now we can't tell.
My only connection, and I've told you the story, is I bought a sweater from Ron Goldman's father in Arizona,
Yeah. Just got back.
in the Nordstrom, and
He was working at Nordstrom's.
and he was such an. It sounds silly, but it didn't dawn on me until he said, "Have a good day," and I think I invited him to my show, and I saw his mustache and I saw the look in his eyes, and I went,
At the show or at the
"No,"
Nordstrom?
when he gave
He
me
didn't
my
come to the
sweater, and I
show.
held on to that sweater for a long time, but he had that deep sadness in his eyes.
Oh,
dude.
the way.
He really
Yeah.
did.
Oh, my God.
Because all of us, you and I
100%.
have sons, man, and you can
My kids are out.
You
I'm
can kill
out.
me.
I'm
you know?
out. Yeah, take me in.
You can kill me, and that was a man who loved. If you have boys or children, you understand. And that's what I think about all the time.
Yeah, I agree.
Think about him all the time. Do
I
you
did-
know him?
Yeah, I met him a few times. He's always been kind to me. And Kim, I did her show, and she was great. So here's the thing I always had that I told Kim, and it's bothered me this last 30 years. And she said, you can't think that way.
Which way?
Of the story of how I feel like I invited myself to McDonald's and screwed up all this timeline. Because I could feel, hindsight, I'm going, he didn't want me to go. And that.
Well, this was before or after?
This is before.
Way
Right.
before.
So maybe maybe he came to my door at that time of getting a change for 100.
That's when
just
Goldman
to
got
plant an
killed.
alibi.
Yes.
Like Kato saw me at the,
Correct.
and I just invited myself. And
So
that's
you
why
think
he
this was
paused.
part of the pre-planned thing?
I think he's trying to get an alibi of when I saw him. I think he's thinking that.
So wait, so you think? See,
This is all
so you think
hindsight
this was?
now.
You think this was a premeditated murder?
I think it was him going there for some reason, and it ended up being a murder.
No, but I'm confused.
I think
You-
maybe
you
rage
ate at McDonald's
Prior to the murders.
prior to the
prior,
murder.
Right before.
He's right before all,
right before.
Yeah, so this is the McDonald's drive. However much time it took.
What time was it?
So he probably dropped me off at 9:30. So the McDonald's
AM or
probably
PM?
AM. It's PM.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck.
it's
Okay,
This is at
sorry.
nighttime.
Wow.
So
Wow.
the
Wow.
transcripts got the time, and so I invite myself knowing they didn't want me to go there. And I think by that pause, he's thinking in his head, he's calculating.
I can still get it done.
That's what I thought. So I told her, I feel like that, and she goes, that I screwed up there. That Ron wouldn't have been there.
No,
blah,
because
blah.
he had to
She
wait
goes,
till he got off work to go.
He had a
return the
history of
glasses.
abusing her, right?
Yeah,
He had a his-
I met in 93. 98, 89 is when he beat her up there. She kept the pictures in her safety deposit box of
Yes.
her bruises and beat her.
men who beat women like that
Are gonna do it again.
kill women.
Yeah, they said
And
that. In this,
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah. So the most dangerous man in your life a lot of times is the man you're dating.
And
or
you
you're
know
married to.
Rob Kardashian, who's really who knows who's close to OJ, but Rob Kardashian, who was a lawyer,
Robert, the father.
the father
Yeah.
of Kim Kardashian,
Yeah.
Robert Kardashian passed away from cancer, but prior to all this, he wasn't dying. He got recertified to represent OJ, and then they had OJ do a lie detector test, which he failed miserably. And that's when Robert was like, that's when him goes, oh shit, he did it. And they actually didn't talk after the trial.
I got to, because I became friends with Tom Lang, I got to go down to this warehouse where he had all this evidence.
Oh,
He plays the
man, I'd
tape.
love to see that.
He has the interrogation tape that wasn't used. And if you ever want to hear a guy that is guilty, it's him. So Venetter is like good cop, bad cop. And what they did is they start going, OJ, we're fans. We love your career, the 2,000-yard season. You
Stroking
get
the
them,
ego.
Stroke the ego. And he loves that.
Because he kept messing up, right? They're like, how'd you get that cut on your hand?
Changing the story.
I've heard some of it.
Yeah.
I told you I'm a nerd with this stuff. I've heard some of this.
Yeah.
So they go,
And none of it was used as
they're
evidence.
stroking his ego, and then one of them just goes, "Man, you got that cut on your hand. That must suck." He goes, "Oh yeah, I did it. I was working, cutting some lawn, and I cut." And they go, "Oh, cool." 20 minutes go by. And the guy goes, "Man, that cut looks really bad. You want a Band-Aid? How'd that happen?" And OJ, in the stroke of his ego, goes, when I found out Nicole was murdered, I took a glass and smashed in the hotel room. They go, "Oh, interesting." So his story's like
Yeah, then it changed
constantly
on the thing
changing.
also where he asked the cop, that was his buddy, Ron Shipp, who said he knew it was he said it was a glass. But then he overheard him ask someone else the same question. He goes, I was chipping golf balls and
Yeah.
I screwed up my hand. So he had 3 different stories.
Yeah.
The guy,
It's all over the place.
but it's all on tape of his interrogation. It's amazing.
Let's take a little break, B.
Yeah, people who are losing their hair. Okay, if you're losing your hair,
Doesn't mean you can't find it again, dude.
and you don't, and sometimes you go to the doctor, it's embarrassing and all that stuff. It's expensive. You can go to Hims, take a picture of your head, send it to a doctor. 5 minutes later, you have your prescription. Your prescription is on its way
Yep.
in an unmarked package. It's all 100% online. No uncomfortable doctor visits. I literally answer a couple questions to a medical provider.
Dude, chewables, oral spray,
No
serum
insurance either.
treatments.
One low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care.
Super simple, 100% online, so there's no
Yep.
uncomfortable doctor visits, like B said.
Yep.
Few questions, no insurance. Hims has hundreds and thousands of trusted subscribers that can help you get your confidence back with visibly thicker and fuller hair. We got you, man. Get that mane flowing. So start your free trial today at hims.com/fighter. That's HIMS.com/fighter. hims.com/fighter.
Results vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
It's amazing to know.
I had a lawyer who said that to me. He said, the good thing about telling the truth is you have to remember one story.
Correct.
When you're a liar, you got to remember all the
Yeah.
stories.
Over and over
So,
in details,
you just
especially
tell
when it
the
comes to a
truth.
murder.
Fuck
Yeah.
off. Yeah. Wow. It to me, it gives me such a heavy, depressed feeling.
Yeah.
It's so awful on so many fronts. I want OJ never to have done it. I want Nicole and Ron Goldman to be alive. I want the kids to be. I want him to still be doing Hertz commercials. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's
He was. Don't forget, he's got everything.
bigger
He's
than
doing
life.
Notre Dame football. He's doing NFL games. He's got commercial. It's like,
he was in Naked Guns. He was hilarious.
do you know? It's a great Naked Gun story was that I've told before. So David Zucker did Naked Gun.
I know David. Yeah, I
Airplane.
did Naked Gun 3 or whatever the fuck. Yeah.
So basketball. David's from Wisconsin. We
I love
families that-
basketball.
We're all Wisconsin people are
Basketball.
very tight. In
You guys stick
Hollywood.
together.
You got with cheeseheads, and David and I love Green Bay Packers.
My dad's from Brown Deer, by the
So
way.
David,
Keep going.
again, Brown Deer, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Oh God, this is great.
Come on, baby. Come on.
Best friends. As we go to, I let Bryan get. We go to David. I'm getting married, and David offers his house. And
Wow.
he walks
In Ojai?
My wife is not Ojai, but in the one in Brentwood.
Right.
Which I have not been in Brentwood since the crop. I stayed
Wow.
away. So David
stayed
walks
away.
her down his back lawn and gave up his house. And Akeem, who I mentioned, Akeem Anastapulu, who did the judge,
Yeah.
he married us, the courtroom judge. And it was the coolest thing to have this whole Wisconsin group and all these other people. So I did a speech, and I told David, thank you for giving us this beautiful home for nothing you gave us, and thank you more so for not inviting Nordberg. So anyways, it was OJ's character. and that's when he was alive, so I could tell the joke. And David goes, love it. Love it. My mind's possessed.
Those guys, the Zucker brothers, hilarious.
Yeah.
And the Farrelly brothers.
Yeah.
So those are the two directors that I've known a little bit, just a little bit.
Right.
And they're great fucking guys. They're so down to earth. It's ridiculous.
You know
the guys
that-
did something about Mary.
I know who they are.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
know that
Stuck
first,
on
when
You?
they directed something about Mary, that was their first directing, right? I got a great story on this. they called David and asked him how to direct before that. They tell that story.
Wow.
It's an open
Well,
story.
dudes, so their family, they're Irish, the Farrelly brothers, and they're super Irish. Their dad was a doctor, and and they're just like, all they would do is fuck with each other, literally. And the brothers were they would drive their parents nuts, right? I would tell you a story where I think it was Peter Farrelly comes in. Have you heard the story? He comes in.
No, but
his
I
dad's a
story after
doctor.
yours.
They're watching Sunday morning football. His son comes in. He goes, oh, Jesus.
yeah.
Oh, my God. He goes, what's the matter? He goes, my ass is killing me. He goes, what do you mean your ass? He goes, just the inside, my asshole is just really hurting. And his father goes, what are you talking about? Why? He goes, I don't know, man. It's just really hurting. I can't even sit. I got to sit like this. And so his father goes, where, speak English. Your ass, the outside? No, the inside, my asshole. He goes, your asshole hurts like this, like that badly? And you just woke up? He goes, yeah, I just woke up and it's killing me. And he goes, God damn, let me see your asshole. And he goes, no, I don't want to see. He goes, let me see your asshole. You don't fuck around with this stuff. Let me see your asshole. So he's watching football, and Peter like drops trowel, opens his legs, spreads his cheeks, and there's a condom in there. And his father goes, oh my God, God damn it, show your mom. And he calls his mom over.
I love it.
That's the family. They were just anything for a laugh, anything for a fucking laugh. They're just hilarious.
That's the old joke, though. Dad, I just had sex the first time in my life. Son, we got to celebrate with a beer. I want to sit down and have a beer because I can't sit. My ass hurts.
That's the joke.
That's
the joke.
So funny.
So I did the Bill Murray has this. I golf some of those tournaments. And he has one in St. Augustine, Florida, the Golf Hall of Fame. So I did that, and the Farrellys are there. I told the Farrellys that story about that. I became friends with them through that golf outing, and then years ago I saw them at the Super Bowl, and it was in Houston, where New England played Carolina. So it was a long time ago, and that was kind of like I'm still out in the news and popular. So they see me in Houston at the restaurant. They invite me to their table, and I tell them the story about reading for their film. And so from that moment, like you said, these guys are just great. I would love to work with them.
Oh, they're great. They're so great.
So blessed that you get to do that.
Yeah, they just let you go, and
they're special.
Fantastic people.
Were you into true crime before all this OJ stuff, or you just kind of got put in it, like
100%.
boxed into it?
I was so into it. I was into like all serial killers.
Yeah, me
back
too.
to even Wisconsin, because Wayne Gacy was the.
In Chicago, but he
and
come
then
over.
we had Dahmer, which is I
Milwaukee.
knew exactly where he lived in Milwaukee.
Jeez.
Is near Marquette University.
That's right.
And so I was always like, it is fascinating this show, and you think that it's all because of how they were raised. But I think in the Dahmer case, I think like his parents were kind
great
of
parents.
His dad had fantasies of
Killing.
murder.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, this is serial killers have something wrong with their brain, man.
Oh,
something
no way.
happened where they get a sexual charge.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's
if you
like
can do that to children or people, I mean, you're.
And I think I don't want to get political, but like transgenders, the whole Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs, they're already kind of crazy. And I think this, to them, murder is it's easy.
Yes.
And there's no.
Well, that was taken from Ted Bundy, where he would have a cast on his arm. Yeah. And can you help me with this couch? I mean,
Oh yeah. And then dump 'em in.
diabolical.
Yeah.
Diabolical.
and also the torch BTK.
BTK, the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy
I
was
was talking to Bryan earlier about the and don't give initials to serial killers. It gives them, motivation. It's like the bind, torture, kill.
Yep.
The KFC,
Night
they kill
Stalker.
you, put you in a bucket. RSVP killer. I can't kill you tonight. I'll be there tomorrow.
Zodiac killer.
Zodiac. I made those up.
Yeah.
But
the Zodiac killer was horrible.
I'm fascinated. I
Zodiac
think from that
isn't
one,
too
the
bad.
original Dirty Harry, the Zodiac killer.
Zodiac killer's interesting. But
They never caught it. It's probably
They did
dead
and
by now.
they did and they didn't. The cops in NorCal actually had a suspect, but they didn't have enough evidence to book him. But there's been enough evidence from eyewitnesses that they kind of know who the guy is.
He
now.
worked. I think he worked in a hardware store and died of a massive heart attack before they could actually catch him.
But all the evidence points
The
towards
Zodiac Killers, that movie by David Feig or whoever it was, Fincher, is a really interesting script.
It's all right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
he's not as bad because he was in doing gruesome stuff like the Night Stalker, BTK.
yeah, but he would write
or
to the
Dahmer.
families. He got off on.
No,
on
he'd write
letters.
to the newspaper.
But he would
and
also
say, "Good
he'd
luck
also
catching
send
me."
letters to like the father of a woman he killed.
There's a lot of
stuff
those
like
killers
that.
that do those. They write stuff there. There's a film. If you guys see it, I think it's great. It's called The Mean Season. Do you ever see that with Kurt Russell? No. Where it's the true story of the the killer in Miami during the hurricane season, and he. I can't believe I haven't seen that one. It's like one of the best. Films,
Really?
The Mean season.
Oh, wow.
And
There
I'll
it
watch
it's
is.
a true
tonight.
story of
It's my friend Mariel.
of the killer.
He's a serial killer, and you do it during hurricane season?
Yeah, and Richard Jordan, he's passed away, but Richard Jordan is the best. He's the serial killer, but it's all based on this guy who's killing all these.
Oh fuck! I remember him.
Yeah, killing all the
Freaky.
people in Miami, and not get caught. But he actually, in the true story, he's doing everything. He's becoming Kurt Russell's the reporter for the Miami Herald.
Yeah.
and he gets all the fame because he's doing the story, and the
Oh,
killer
interesting.
only writes him.
Oh,
So
interesting.
the killer is getting jealous, and they're trying to plant a sees the killer is homosexual, writing all the things that he's not
To upset him.
So he wants to kill him.
Oh, wow.
And that's based on it. And so he goes, there's a clue. The killer gives him a clue of this might be the killer. He's in a trailer park. So the killer is dressed in character and saying, I know the killer. And Kurt Russell's in the room with the killer.
Oh, wow.
Doing this, talking to him, and he's feeling a strange vibe, like this guy's for real.
Yeah.
He doesn't get killed, but the killer
The mean
gets all the mean season.
Interesting. Yeah, they
Watch
kind
a
of stopped.
trailer.
They kind of stopped polarizing serial killers. Like you haven't heard of one like the Zodiac killer, and to your point, the BTK and all that, Night Stalker. Like they kind of stopped doing that in media.
I think
Because there's like 53 active killers right now, serial killers in America. 53.
Yeah, LA has the most serial killers.
53.
I'm gonna find out even more today. The thing is, it's different now because social media and cameras everywhere.
It's hard for them to get away with it.
It's hard for them. They've got to
Still doing
to
it.
outsmart everybody. They got to be really smart with technology, and where I think this Brian Kohlberger thing at the
Interesting.
in the
In
Moscow,
Idaho.
What is this? Oh, that-
Brian Kohlberger, Moscow.
Oh, yeah,
We're gonna probably do our show live.
That guy was.
if it's him,
had
which
to
I
have been.
think.
It was him. He went. You can see him at the sort of memorial.
Well, you know how he got caught, right? Because he
pings, honestly.
But he left everything-
He majored in criminology.
Yeah.
He was interested in it, but there's a Facebook group started by people in the area, and the cops look at this stuff. The FBI looks into it, so they're seeing all the comments on there. Then there's one profile that was listing things that they haven't released to the public yet. And they went, "We need to look into this," and that's one of the ways they got him.
I think want to hear my theory? Okay.
Love to
I'll tell
hear
you
it.
anyways. My theory is he's in criminal law, and I think the guy's trying to outsmart everything and wanted to see if he could come up with the perfect crime.
Yes.
I really think he was
too.
that.
Yep.
And a
His
total
history shows
sociopath.
that of
Yes.
he goes, I can get away with this, and I'm going to prove it. Did he meet one of the girls? I think at one point maybe he was heavier, and maybe he was picked on, bullied, or whatever. But
Or
then
she
he
turned him
lost
down,
weight,
yeah.
turned him down. But he had that, and he
Yes.
How many
I-
people did he kill?
A whole house, 4, yeah.
4, I think.
4.
2, and so
And there's so much blood when they walked up. There's blood coming out of the out of the house.
This is why I think I want to buy my daughter a bite trained dog. Just have that dog with you all the time.
a bite train trap.
Yeah, and then the dog bites somebody and you have a lawsuit. So
yeah.
there's no way to
there's
win.
no.
Well, it's
That's a
gotta go-
random thing.
It's got to be on command, though, right?
Yeah.
To bite.
Yeah, I'm just being.
Yeah.
Stay. Sleep.
That's not good.
Good.
He's a trained
Just
killer.
a
You are-
dog is
I thought that was a pillow.
At least the dog goes hey.
Yeah, but then they just
Dogs.
wait till they leave, and if they want to get them, they get them. Yeah, but as far as the house,
there's so many things. And
but the most active one that they can't figure out is that smiley face killer. Are you familiar with that? Started in Boston, came to Austin.
no,
Oh, the guy
Boston,
was he
what?
drowning gay men?
Yes.
Is it true?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Bring
but
up
they don't
smiley
know
face
if those
killer.
men died because they were drunk, right?
Well, but in Boston too, there's men that keep getting killed. So
He had to have been-
the smiley
is
face
he
theory.
caught? Is
Also, go ahead.
Is he caught?
No, they haven't. They think it's more than one. Smiley face killing, smiley face gang is a theory advanced by retired New York City detective Kevin Gannon. Let's see, a criminal just all right. It alleges that 45 young men found dead in bodies of water across several Mideastern American states from the late 1990s to 2010s did not accidentally drown, as concluded by law enforcement. The victim, they were victims of one or multiple serial killers. They've never caught them. It's
So
still
they-
going
Do you
on.
know who he
That's
is?
like
Don't
the-
you? A really bad lifeguard. There's a chance.
He's just trying his
There's a
best.
This
chance.
is like-
You know what, Kato?
Yeah.
I like where your head's at.
He's just trying his best, but he's
He
really
just
bad.
didn't know how to do
No
it
running.
proper.
It's slippery. Hey, I'm
Gotta-
gonna kill you.
He didn't know how to do a side stroke
Yeah.
with somebody under his
The
arm.
guy's really shallow.
Yeah.
All right.
I like the I think they found, I can't remember how they found one guy. It said he was a FBI profiler, And they found a girl dead by the river or something, or a couple of girls. And he said, "You will find him. You will find him at the spot. He'll be on the banks jerking off."
Yeah, they come
His
back.
car.
They come back to it.
And the guy came back and he was jerking off.
Yeah.
And because he was looking down.
And they
there.
found the guy doing that?
That's how they caught him. They go.
I love
and
profilers.
Profilers. Have you talked to any of those guys?
I
Richard
haven't.
Walter's a
talked
guy.
to-
Bring up Richard Walter.
Yeah,
Holy
we have.
shit.
We've had a lot of on our show. We've had a woman who's in charge of genealogy, where she's doing she'll be working on the Kohlberger case.
Because that's how they caught the Golden Gate killers, through that genealogy, DNA, through
That guy.
Yeah.
21andMe.
This guy is incredible.
Wow.
He is so. This is the guy they
he
bring
alive?
in. Yeah, I think so. I don't know, but
I don't think so.
I listened to him interviewed, and he's the guy that Scotland Yard brought in. Scotland Yard. They showed him. They couldn't solve this case. They showed him a still shot of the crime scene. He said it was the father. The boy had been molested. That barber molested his 12-year-old son, and then he cut his penis. He bashed him in the head, cut his penis off, and threw it in the trash. Because that's what he did. Because you did that to my son. I'm going to throw your dick away. And turns out that's exactly what it was. And Scotland Yard was like, holy shit.
But think how hard it is to be a serial killer this day and age. Like back in the 90s with no cell phones, it was kind of eyewitness. Like they didn't even have fingerprints or DNA.
Well, talking to Tom Lang, serial killers, they always will prey on prostitutes normally because they have no family usually.
Yeah.
And there's no way that
no one's going to report it, miss them.
And nobody cares.
Yeah.
So they don't really investigate because it's an easy getaway for them.
So it's prostitutes, then also Native Americans. If you've looked
didn't
how
hear
many
that.
Native American women have gone missing from the reservation,
yeah.
it's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And no one brings
It's
attention
their
to
own.
it.
Well, it's a
their
different,
own
it's their own
Jurisdiction.
Yeah, exactly.
and
They can't really.
no one looks into
There's
it.
so much violent crime, especially toward women there.
Yeah.
But have you seen the odds of you getting caught for murder in America?
No.
Odds aren't bad.
Yeah.
It's like 50%.
Yeah.
In Mexico, it's 80%. You get away with it.
That you get away
8
with
out
it?
of 10 get away with it. Here it's 50.
But now I feel like with DNA and cameras. So I was talking to a guy who was an FBI guy who dealt with cold cases. And I was trying to come up with 1,000 ways. So I said to him,
1,000 ways to get away?
yeah. So I said, so if I'm in the woods and I have, I snipe somebody from 1,000 yards away or whatever it is. I said 500 yards. He said, that's very cool. We can tell. So I would look at
It would ping the
I would look at
navigation, the car.
where it was. I'd look at, no, he says, you did all that. I'm saying we could tell by the entry of the bullet and where it was that we'd go, okay, that bullet came from this far away.
Right.
Yeah.
So they would do a vector. They'd find where you were with dogs, and they would take all those leaves and everything up in that area. They'd sweep it all up and bring it back to a lab and find your DNA.
But you
But
can get away with that. But your cell phone's
if it rained, though,
but
they'd
your
be in
cell
trouble.
phone's pinging off so they can track
That's
your
another
car.
one, yeah.
Your car, the navigation's
Yeah.
constantly.
I
sending
said
communication.
I took all that into account.
But in
I
your
was
theory is you can get away with it if you don't have your phone, but you have no connection to someone. You're just out in the woods.
Yes.
So then
Usually,
there's no connection.
Usually, you
to
have
that.
a connection though.
No.
No, I'm saying.
No, yeah.
I'm saying
serial
if you
killers
did-
don't.
Right.
If you just had a thing,
Random.
a person. I mean, it's unsolved cases of people that.
But what
did
they
the
do
perfect
though,
crime.
so
One
what-
out of
but-
10,000
But
cold
what they do
cases
is
get
when you
solved.
shoot somebody like that, they'll look at traffic cams, and they'll find your
Oh,
car.
they did it with Kohlberger. They saw his car circling around
Yeah.
for so many.
Yeah.
They just find your
kept
car.
going by that house.
Well, nowadays, when your driver's license or your license plate is always being recorded, so there are cameras right now. Every time you make a right onto another
yeah, it's
street,
tracking you.
the camera catches you and runs your plate.
I mean, if you wanted to get away with it, you could rent a car from. I'm not telling people to do this. You could rent a car, and it has to be a random shooting. You could drive to Griffith Park, literally from far distance, shoot them. Don't bring your cell phone. Nothing. It'd be very tough.
But they'd be able to find your rental car and then trace it back to.
But if you
your
have no
name.
ties, they're just going to check all rentals. How
Yeah,
do they know it's a
they do
rental?
that.
How do they know it's a rental car?
So what they do is they run your plates because they get your plates. They get so the car's there. They have
Someone
cameras
would
there.
get the
There's some
Someone
kind of
gets your
tape now
plates.
people can use that looks like your car. It still reads, but
Yeah.
cameras can't read it.
Yes.
There's this thing someone invents.
Really?
Yeah, crazy
Yeah.
stuff that
Yeah,
goes
there's
on
wild
of
shit.
trying to
block
when you
your license,
To
so it
block your
can't
license.
detect
You
it.
can read it, but a camera can't.
Yes.
Wow.
It's pretty bizarre.
Wow.
Do you know that the reading of the plates, which
Maybe because
goes back
there's
to
a
the
light?
OJ thing. The other story is the girl Jill Shively, who's been on our show. She's the one that is on the night of. She sees the Bronco, this car coming with no lights on, running the red light. She sees it because it almost hits her. It goes up on the curb, and it's the guy shouts out her window, "Get out of my way!"
Yep.
And she recognized the voice and memorized the license plate. Called it in as a drunk driver. She was, I just saw a naked gun. That's O.J. Simpson. She calls in as a drunk driver. So the record, that's another thing they didn't use.
They couldn't use that because she
they have
took
the
his money.
actual time of the car coming probably from Bundy.
Yes.
Exactly at that
Whoa.
moment. And it's OJ, not in his house, like he said.
Brian, they couldn't use that because she took $10,000 in a 2020 interview. So once you do that,
$5,000 from hard copy.
There you go.
And she gave it to charity.
Yes.
So they didn't use it. But
They couldn't use it.
It's still a
'cause she took money.
fact.
It's
still a fact.
Yeah.
These are Pima cotton shirts. Those are coming down the line. Feel that for a sec. Just feel it. You kidding me?
Oh, that's nice.
That shirt, if you were to buy that, if anybody else made that shirt, I don't know how much it would cost.
$7,000.
It's such beautiful material, and it's so durable. Either way, it's just another example of why I'm always wearing True Classic. This is the first day, and I was just talking to the CEO that I haven't been wearing. I'm not
Right.
wearing True Classic. How outrageous! I don't even have the
But we
underwear
always
on,
stop by and
I
pick up all their stuff.
I just don't feel as good when half your body is covered in Pima cotton. Hard to have a bad day.
They also
all right?
have a brick and mortar store now in Las
yeah. A number
Vegas.
of them.
They're crushing it. Our boy from Bustin' with the
Boys.
Boys,
Yep.
Taylor was
Lewin.
there with our boy Ryan. It's premium clothes at affordable price. Build the perfect outfit in 5 minutes or less. Everything goes great together. You get their best-selling shirts, hoodies, jeans, and more. 3, 6, and 9 packs.
It's literally all you need. I mean,
Yeah, the more you bundle, the more you save. It's the only thing you need. They have
it hugs
everything. It's
if you
the
guys
best
are
of the
always
best.
saying to me, Brian, your body looks so ridiculously good.
That's what the
How do
internet's
you do
saying,
it?
dude.
How does a 58-year-old look that good? Like, are you doing pro sports? It's True Classic.
Dude, 100
It's the way it hugs my chest and shoulders.
100% perfect fit guarantee with easy returns. Trusted by over 4 million customers.
Oh, well, how about this? 200,000 plus 5-star reviews.
And you'll see them all over on UFC Octagon, but they started here with the Fire and the Kid. Ryan's our brother from a very smart, different mother.
Yep.
So go to trueclassic.com/fighter to save. That's trueclassic.com/fighter. Shop now. Elevate your wardrobe today.
So he said he was at his house taking a shower, and it's
a lie.
proven. So it's just another thing. He's seen what is coming with his lights off from Bundy up to San Vicente, and she almost gets hit. And she still to this day, she just wrote the license plate and called it in and said there's a drunk driver before he rolled his window down.
That was OJ
So
fleeing the crowd.
It's
there's a
funny how
record.
it's
It's a
funny
record
how
of it.
with cases and law, it's so different than what you think, right? There's so many moving parts, and they can basically disqualify evidence based on
Well,
kinda
only because OJ's OJ, because he had the money to put together that basically
dream
the
team.
Marvel
Yeah.
Avengers of
Yeah.
lawyers. Because if he was just a normal average Joe,
would've-
he's guilty.
he's gone.
Oh, they're not coming
gone.
for that.
Those
Right.
guys were so in the seats. I remember it was a Time magazine, I think, cover that said "Sowing the Seeds of Doubt," and you
I
see,
mean, he went broke from doing it. You know,
Yeah.
he
went
did
dead
right.
broke. Yeah,
That must have
But
cost
then he
him.
get millions of
5,000,
signing autographs. for people
5
that
million a
love
week or
crime.
so. It was like 5 million a week.
Oh, he made millions.
Millions
signing
signing autographs because he has agent in the show, Mike.
but
Gilbert.
that money, he couldn't take that money. I thought, right?
Yeah, you could. Well,
You can
can't
because you're
touch the-
signing your OJ. You're not making money off the crime. You're just
The civil
making
case,
that.
yeah, he had-
Seeds of Doubt. That one. The trial begins. Look at that. That's a great picture.
But
Brian.
Great job in producing this thing.
In that,
Wow.
yeah, he's
Man.
a seasoned vet. But in the
Naz.
documentary, they show Nicole's sister, and they go, "Have you received a dime from that civil case?" She goes, "Not a single dime.
Yeah,
we've
it's
never
okay.
received any money."
Yeah, his thing was he's never going to pay it. So
Well,
It's
that's
all
the other thing you see with lawyers. There are people that will put all their money in somebody else's name, or they just
Yeah.
won't pay. And it's really hard for the judge. They can start freezing your assets the way they did with Giuliani and selling off your assets.
gotta-
But
If it's
there
in
are
his
1,000 ways to stall that shit.
But
got
also,
it back,
OJ
buddy.
had a
You got it all
pension
back.
where they couldn't touch either. It's an
also,
NFL
yeah.
pension.
Also, when
can't touch the pension.
No.
Yeah. Also, when that you do win things, your lawyer then goes to work on parsing out every little detail, and it's you don't want to be. My friend said, "I've never seen a lawsuit work out for anybody. It's not
Nobody wins.
yeah,
Nobody
lawyers
wins.
win. That's it. I mean, the money.
Frank Azar wins.
Yeah,
The Bulldog.
yeah,
That's old school.
Lawyers.
I like it.
Damn.
Crazy.
Kato, how long do we have you? You got to get out of here?
No, you got a minute. I've got to drive an hour to my next show. If I can get out by like 1:45.
We'll go maybe 10. You got any?
It's up to you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
you're great.
Man, I got to check out your show. If it's all this
Why don't
stuff.
you go? You
What is
ever have
that
one of
stuff?
these?
What is
It's called a Magic Mind. You ever have this?
No.
So it's great. It basically increases flow. It's not caffeine. It's got matcha in it and different
Like a
mushrooms.
nootropic for your brain.
We do it
all healthy.
I'll drink 2 of these at
It's
least.
okay. I drive. I
yeah,
drive.
it's all-
Yeah.
yeah.
It increases flow and focus, and it's
You drive like Mario
Get
Andretti.
a little pump. It's great.
OJ wouldn't have
good,
hit
right?
the curb if he
I love
drank
it.
one of these.
It tastes good.
Kato, do you still talk to anyone from that time period of your life, like his kids or
I
anyone?
I had on a show just
another one.
last week, Tanya, her sister, Tanya Brown. So that's our episode of 1 Degree Scandalous. She's up 30 years, I haven't seen her, so we did the show. And they did their Lifetime show. Lifetime. The sisters did their own special. It was on the Lifetime Network.
Do you
but
still-
not the kids at all.
Do you know how they're doing? I know
I
one's
know
doing
that
pretty
Jason,
well.
I know Justin's in the news now because he won't leave his dad's place.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going
I know.
on. I don't know what's going on. And she is having her second child.
And she's
Sydney.
smart, right? I think she
I think so. She's
yeah.
in Florida.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's all I know. But I told Tanya to please give him my best.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Did you ever talk to OJ afterward, or
Never.
Never once?
No. Nope. I saw him in the deposition for the civil trial, and that was it. And we're in the bathroom. And this is after I had talked 2 hours about telling the truth about him and his character, which wasn't all good stuff. And then we're in the bathroom together by ourselves. I'm taking a pee. Damn. So he walks in, and I couldn't pee because I just got we're in alone now. It's just him and I in this bathroom at the deposition, and he just goes, "Hey, what up?" And this after then I said, I was peeing, washed my hands, and I left. That was nothing to say. Nothing to say.
So what did you say that was not so good?
About his character?
Well, his character. I just basically they asked me all the questions about his mood. I told basically my testimony, and they at that time now the civil, my opinion already came out that I think he's guilty, so he knew that going in.
Jeez.
That I had
That's
an
fair.
opinion already.
Just
Yeah,
being honest.
Yeah.
So did everybody.
I think so too. When he asked with DNA, when he said DNA to him meant dude needs alibi. So I don't know. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, his ego and narcissism was wild.
Narcissist never think
he
they're going to
actually
get caught.
did. He had a huge ego. He loved.
Yeah, of course.
The people that if I had a girl or anything and brought her by the place, he always tried to hit on them. Always, right in front of me.
Yeah. So when they say when narcissists are finally convicted, you know what the first reaction is?
They can't
Surprise.
believe it. Yeah, they can't believe it.
They look up like this. What the fuck?
But how about OJ when all the fans were rushing to Brentwood, rushing to the property, and they're leaving? He goes, "How did all these N-words get here?"
It's
And then
amazing.
they're like, "You're black." He's like, "I'm not black. I'm OJ." Like, whoa, this dude is
because he
off the
became that
reservation.
crossover.
Yeah.
He had no color, so people, white and black, they're like, this is the perfect spokesman.
Yes.
Because
Oh,
he
dude,
could
he
get
was
Everyone loved him.
He was.
But then he gets found guilty, or he's found innocent, and obviously white people are like, "Dude, this guy clearly murdered Nicole." But then he started leaning towards the black side because they accepted
afterward.
him. Yeah.
What was
He
his
did
life?
everything
Do you know
wrong.
what his life was like after that? Before
Oh,
he
I
went
was
to jail?
He did
Horrible.
everything wrong. He
Horrible.
got the luckiest break of his life
Yes.
of being, reasonable doubt. He got out. He should have never been seen. He should have just gone and
Yes.
done his own thing.
Golf, do your thing.
And he didn't. He just did stuff in public. And he
was so used to
when
being
you
a
hang
star.
out with people that do bad things, you're going to do bad things. He hang out more criminals. That's why Vegas locked him up.
Yes.
He hung out with more people that were just bad.
Wow.
He did that.
Yeah.
Then he didn't. He had a ghostwriter, but the "If I Did It" book, like all that tasteless stuff. He did rap videos.
Yeah.
He was in the club all the time.
So
Women still loved him though. He still had a ton of girls.
I figured out that in life that I have this really positive outlook. That I noticed that when you're positive and fun, crazy people start liking, they want to be part of it.
Preach.
And I did so in my height of being like world famous and everybody wanting to meet, I mean, stories that would just blow you away with a sheik offered me $20 million to move to Saudi Arabia. So now I get a phone call from the publicist. I was a guy named Lee Salters. He handled like Frank Sinatra in the heyday, but Michael Jackson. And now he had me. And he said, this guy, Phil Spector, called and wants you to meet at his recording session. And I was like, Phil Spector, I love the Beatles. I love John Lennon. I was like, yeah, the Wall of Sound. I knew everything about Phil Spector. I was like, this is great. And
is
I
prior to
also
the
knew
murder.
Julian Lennon, Julian John's son, and I hung out with him at the Marquis Hotel at the Whiskey Bar, which was everybody.
Are you a musician?
I mean, I play a little piano and guitar,
Right.
but not. I couldn't release an album, but we'll talk.
Yeah.
So I go. It's a true story. Don't know him. I get invited to this Sunset Sound, which every album, everything top of the world are made.
Yeah.
He's doing Celine Dion's Christmas album.
Whoa.
And I don't really know Celine. I don't listen to that that music.
Yeah.
But I go, she's world famous, and I go there, and there's an A-list of celebrities are there watching this album from. I just remember people like Danny DeVito was there, Penny Marshall. This is when their heyday. Brian Wilson, the Beach Boys. It was like 13 people. So I walk in, and that thing you feel like, why is he here? That negative, and I'm invited by him, and I could feel like people liking and people hating. So Phil Spector and Celine Dion's husband's Renee's there, and there's a big mixing board. He gets this guy, he goes, get up. Kato Kaelin, you sit here. I love your energy.
Wow.
And I sit next to him, and he's insane. He made Celine Dion, I'm not making this up, at least 60 times do the same
note over and over.
note over and over. And you could feel the tension of everybody. And Renee, her husband's going, Phil, it's enough. He goes, this is not enough. And he starts getting this thing where he goes crazy in the room. So I'm there now. This is going on for at least 6 hours. I'm there 6 hours, and I thought it was just going to be an hour. So I go to the bathroom to pee. I go, and then the Green Day is there, and they're just starting.
Yeah.
And they go, okay, we got to do a picture. So I'm walking around studio doing photos, and the publicist walks out and goes, Kato, get in there. He's going, he won't start until you're there.
Wow.
He won't start till you're there.
What?
And now there's more hatred for me. So I sit down, and I feel like I can't leave.
Yeah.
So I stayed there all night. After everybody left, he said, you're not leaving. We're going to go out. And
Like, dude, I
we
got to go
out.
home.
So
man.
I go out another day with him at the same session. And at that time, Matt Sorum, Guns N' Roses, and my buddy Matt, I bring him to. I go. He goes. He wants to meet Matt. He wants to meet Phil Spector. I go. Matt, come with me to his sound mix. And so I introduced Matt and him hit it off. And he goes. He gets rid of the drummer. He goes. Matt, you play drums on the song.
So he was a brilliant producer. You know about Phil Spector.
Yeah, you know about the shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
You ever see what he-
before.
This is way
before.
This is way
looks
before.
like?
So just so you know, B,
bugging me
when
too, right?
hey B, just so you know that room. So Brian Williams from the Beach
Boys.
Boys, you know his connection with Charles Manson. So that whole room,
Yeah.
is
whole room.
The whole
There's-
room's got
there's
some
whole-
voodoo,
This
whatever it
whole
is.
Yeah, some
thing's
dark
going-
arts
so
going
now,
on.
I don't know if this guy's going to commit a murder ever. And I'm hanging out.
Oh, none
at
of us
certain
do.
things.
None of us
I'm
do when
at
somebody
certain
does.
events with him. He invites me to his house, and I got a buddy of mine from Milwaukee that he's like loving. I go, hey, we got invited to the Tyson fight at his house.
Jesus.
And he had these candles lit because I guess his son died when John Lennon got killed. And he's the godfather of Julian. Or
How
Sean.
did Phil Spector's son die?
Yeah, and he is the godfather. Him and John Lennon are best friends. So they named Phil Spector was godfather to Sean, I think. Anyways, I had a few times we had gone out. I wanted to leave, and he puts a gun on the table. I was not a witness in this trial. I was going, please don't make me a witness in this trial.
Yeah, I
it's
don't need this,
insanity.
yeah.
But I told a story where we go to Ringo Starr's house for a big party, and he won't go inside the house. True story. I've said this before. He won't go inside until the host invites you in like a vampire.
This was
This
Phil.
is Phil Spector.
He was
I'm
he
with
was
my
a
posse
little
of friends.
fucking nuts.
You think?
Crazy.
Yeah.
The wigs.
Well,
He's
he got
I
into
found it
shooting
out that
people
he
in the
was out,
face.
and then I kind of stopped the hanging out. But I went on enough to know. I was afraid for my life many times. Of
Interesting.
The hangout. Even when his limo driver took me, I always felt like, this is where I'm going to get killed.
Yeah,
I
is this
never
a
could
hit?
figure him out.
He died too, right?
Died in prison, I think.
Yeah.
He
Bring
got
up a picture of Phil Spector.
Yeah, of all those wigs.
He wore wigs, huh?
Yeah.
Did he wear wigs
I didn't
when you
know
knew
wigs.
him?
Yeah, but I didn't know the first time that was a wig.
Look at him. Look at him.
Those are the wigs he wore.
I mean, that's clearly that's clearly
the one where
a
he did the
fucking-
finger in the outlet.
But he'd obviously lost his mind.
Yeah.
Like you can see it.
He was
not-
also narcissistic.
He's not all there.
Yeah, and and everybody, he had the history of violence too because his wife was Ronnie Spector. You know the Eddie Money song, just like Ronnie says,
Oh,
"Be
wow.
my little baby."
Yeah.
That was his.
Take me home tonight.
Ronnie Spector was in a group called the Charnettes, or well, you can see it, but she divorced because there was violence in their marriage.
He was married to her.
Yeah.
He is a strange,
Ronnie
weird
Spector. See,
dude.
she's the name. The Ronettes.
Wow.
They had some great songs too.
What a wackadoodle.
So I kept singing. I knew Robert Blake too. You guys want me to go on? It's like all these people.
Boy, there's a common denominator, my
yeah,
man.
don't hang out with Kato. You guys
Yeah,
are
Brian's
get
going to
killed
murder
tonight.
somebody.
else?
when
Yes,
we
be
leave here.
careful tonight, everybody, please.
right.
I said, why didn't they just call me for CSI? Have
Yeah.
a cardboard cutout of every crime scene of Kato.
God
Fucking
damn.
It's like
Well,
so
wait, who else?
bizarre.
So Ron
I just
Spector,
knew
who
him
else?
from the Playboy
Who?
Mansion.
Who else?
Robert Blake.
Oh, my
Just,
God.
I just knew him.
He was in my acting class.
There.
And
see?
but I only was in there one time when he was there, and he came back and thanked everybody.
You guys know some murderers,
for
huh?
supporting him.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know
during the trial.
one.
Yeah, I think in life you've walked by people that have been murderers.
100%,
I
yeah.
always think
Yeah.
that thought of. Do you think you ever go into like a store?
Yeah.
Like you go, and you walk by someone's probably killed someone. I think
Yeah,
the
he
odds
was-
are in LA are
odds are-
pretty
yeah.
high.
He was not a good guy, obviously.
Well, what did you say the other day, Brian? You were like, any hotel room you go into, just know.
Someone committed suicide or died in
Yeah.
there.
yeah.
That's
I mean-
fine.
Yeah.
That's we all
All
live
good
this way.
as long as the sheets are clean.
As my buddy who spent a lot of time in war zones said, these people don't understand how lucky they are that we have rule of law. And he said, within a 2-block radius, there are people that you know that are your neighbors that would kill your children if it was.
Oh, in other countries for sure.
That's what it is. In life, there are the bad person who does terrible things is probably 3 doors down from you sometimes. It's not that
course.
rare
No.
when everything breaks down. The
That's
thing
why you
about
can't trust
war.
anybody.
Well, the thing about war is the real sociopaths not only come out of the
They take
woodwork,
advantage of it.
They're like, this is my chance
Go
to kill
time.
people.
Yeah,
It's go
and
time.
get away with it.
That's why they all go. So you hear about ISIS doing terrible things. Yeah, it's the people that come from all over the
Correct.
world to go. I get to kill people.
Correct.
And that's what they do.
And now we have a mission. There's like-minded others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack Reacher, the original Tom Cruise. The guy didn't get to shoot anybody. He's been training his whole life, so he wanted to go. He
Yep.
goes, I got to kill someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I trained for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
weird.
But let's have more love in this world, please.
More love.
How nice of a guy is Kato?
Yeah,
man?
best.
I,
If the 3 of us were cops, no one would get arrested.
Second
You'd
chances.
be hopeless.
Yeah.
I'd be hopeless. He'd be
You'd be
hopeless.
or it'd be easy because we just be like, hey, Kato, who you hanging out with? Because he hangs out with murderers.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Kato, we're going to interview someone. Yeah, I'm
very
sure he's a
true.
killer. Arrest that guy.
We just get those guys.
We just put Kato in a room like, which one you thinking tonight?
Yeah.
You know, just put him in certain areas.
Oh yeah, that's
I've always said,
stories.
yeah, I have trouble hurting anybody's feelings, much less,
I can't even step on ants. I'm not a serial killer. I can't kill anybody. Well, Kato, man, I can't. Thinking a huge. I
love
liked
it.
you before, but after this, man, yeah, you're awesome.
I love you guys and
Yeah,
all
you're
that.
the best, man.
Honestly, so great to see you. Great to meet you.
You
because
too,
now
brother.
I think we're on our best friend list.
Yeah,
Damn right, buddy.
No, I'll get
Man,
your
I hope
number
so.
after this.
I really stay in touch.
I will.
I
We'll
love
get
it,
your
man.
number
I
and
think
let's
you're-
fucking-
And if you ever
You know,
need
I
a
love
drop in for some of this true crime stuff you're doing, let me know, man.
Yep.
I got my black belt in true crime.
he's the guy.
I'd love you to be on. I'd love it. It'd be fantastic.
Where do you live?
Toluca Lake.
Oh, nice.
Let me give you my address on the air.
Yeah,
So
right.
please, do you know what's funny? Really quick, I get in the mail yesterday. I'm going to give it to Tom Lang today. People have these like theories. I get it under my doors, which is scary. That there's psychotic people. It's scaring me. And there's some case that's going on in Florida. I won't get into all the names, but someone wrote me and said, "Do the right thing." So I'm spooked out because I don't know the people's name on there, but it's an actual case that's going on, and it's kind of OJ related. And I don't even know who they are, but it's been a name that's been people
wants
have
that?
sent me stuff on X, on Twitter,
Interesting.
and all these weird messages.
God.
And it's like I can't believe it, but now I know they know where I live.
Yeah, that's
and-
scary.
That's fun.
That's scary.
Yeah, it's
go ahead and get
bizarre
ourselves some guns
because
and
there's
dogs.
insane. I don't even have.
There are crazy people. There are crazy people out there.
Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
think?
It's crazy people because they think as you know, people think they know you because they see you.
Correct.
They don't know. They don't know.
Yeah.
They have an opinion, and then
Nowadays, the famous people I know, a lot of them have protection, because
Yeah.
they're like,
You have to. Yeah, people are crazy.
Yeah, I protect-
schizophrenics.
keep
Well,
it
Kato,
in my ass.
keep crushing it, brother.
I love it. I'll see you guys
I
again.
hope
I'm
your
sure.
show goes, dude.
I'll let you know. I'll keep
It's
it.
so
I hope
good.
so. I think
It's
it's
so
going to go
good.
somewhere. I
should.
really do.
Let's
Yeah.
rock and roll.
And
That was great.
true crime.
Kato Kaelin, everybody. Thank you, sir.
Hey, can I tell my Instagram?
Yeah.
It's at Kato_Kaelin, Kaelin. Kind of funny on it, so follow me.
You're
Love
awesome.
it.
You're
You're the
awesome.
best.
We love you.